Introduced alongside the nightclub in 2018, the Terabyte is simultaneously one of the most overpowered as well as underrated vehicles in the entire game because to this very day, most people just view it as a pseudo MOC with worse armor that can be used to start a few missions and nothing more. However, nothing could be further from the truth as the Terabyte doesn't function like the MOC, it doesn't move like the MOC, and its money-making potential far exceeds that of the MOC if you know how to set things up properly. And in today's video, I'm about to explain why you, as a solo player, need to own one of these hacker trucks in your vehicle collection because the difference before and after when it comes to quality of life in this game is just insane. Just 1 week of using the Terabyte with a master control terminal, and you'll probably start wondering why you didn't buy it earlier. But before we actually buy a Terabyte, we need one of two things, either a nightclub or a garment factory. That's because the Terabyte, much like the Acid Lab, is a specialized vehicle that can only be stored in very specific locations. So unless you have a garment factory or nightclub, you're gonna see a giant lock icon on top of the Terabyte in war stock and you won't be able to buy it. And if you want to fit your Terabyte with a missile lock-on jammer or a master control terminal, you'll have to park it inside the garment factory garage first. Only then will you see the options to purchase those upgrades in the Bureau Tech Modifications section. And once you're inside that upgrade menu, here's what you should purchase. First, the master control terminal, which costs $1.25 million if you don't already own one in your arcade. But if you do, you'll actually get a discounted price of $500,000. Then after that, I also recommend investing a further $425,000 on a missile lock-on jammer if you're planning to take your Terabyte into public lobbies, because with this upgrade, it becomes the most difficult vehicle to take out in the entire game. It's even tougher than the Acid Lab and MOC, and both of those vehicles are built like absolute tanks, so you can only imagine how annoying it must be for a griefer to run into something that's even harder to destroy. Because now, not only can the Terabyte soak up 34 homing missiles, which is less than an MOC or an Acid Lab, but now it can also avoid the missile lock-on altogether, which means in reality, unless you have godlike free aim skills or are an absolute free aiming demon, you're gonna need tons of missiles to blow this truck up. And an oppressor carries only 20 at capacity, so you're gonna need 5 oppressor Mark IIs or even more simultaneously firing at this Terabyte to even make a dent in its armor and get through that lock-on jammer. I also love how fast the Terabyte is despite its massive size and weight. Most players don't realize this, but the Terabyte can actually go over 87 miles an hour, which makes it one of the fastest armored vehicles in the entire game. Not only that, but when you combine the speed with the missile jammer, it's almost impossible to track and destroy. At this state, you can also invest in some other goodies for it, like the multi-lock missile battery, which transforms the Terabyte from a more passive damage sponge into a weaponized vehicle that's capable of dishing back some serious pain. And just as the name indicates, this is in fact a multiple lock missile system, so you can track and fire at 4 or even 5 targets simultaneously, unlike most regular homing missile launchers that only give you 1 shot per enemy target. The tracking on these missiles is kind of mediocre, but they still get the job done against low skill opponents who aren't very good at flying. And since we're going to be doing some client jobs for money, I also recommend purchasing the drone station upgrade for $815,000 as it will unlock the targeted data and diamond shopping missions inside of your Terabyte's touchscreen computer. You can also use your drone to troll players in public lobbies by zapping them from behind. Most folks just act bewildered and shocked, like they have no clue what just happened because getting zapped by a drone is such a rare occurrence in GTA Online, and most players simply don't have a plan of action to deal with it. But yeah, that's about all the upgrades you need for your Terabyte. And if you just want to make money with the Terabyte, you don't actually need any of this stuff other than the drone station and maybe the master control terminal, because you'll probably just play in invite-only lobbies where there are no griefers to get in your way. And here's how I like to run my Terabyte client jobs. I always start with the robbery in progress mission, as it's the easiest and it can be done in well under 5 minutes if you have an oppressor Mark II. By the way, I'm assuming you have an oppressor Mark II for these missions because it makes them so much easier compared to driving around in a car or on a bike. But if you don't have one, not to worry, because in just a couple minutes, I'll show you how you can use your Terabyte to make money and bring down the price of the oppressor Mark II at the same time. So back to robbery in progress. This one's really simple here. You start the mission from your Terabyte touchscreen computer, and Paige Harris will tell you to browse through the various traffic cameras that she's hacked. As you browse through the various cameras, you'll eventually land on the one that's recording a robbery in progress at a Fleece bank, hence the mission name. Now, your objective is simple. Once you've got the location, just fly there on your oppressor Mark II or drive there in your car if you don't have a Mark II and hijack the robbery by stealing the loot for yourself. It's pretty easy for the most part, as you only have to deal with a 2-star wanted level, and inside the bank, there are only 2 robbers. You don't even need to technically look through the cameras either. You could just visit every Fleece bank and do it that way, but unless you get the location that's all the way up north in Sandy Shores, that's why I like to flip through the cameras so I'm not wasting my time traveling around. But overall, your main obstacle for this mission is going to be this guy right here, a Juggernaut, and he's armed with a minigun. Now, here you can take one of 2 approaches. You can either find some cover and blast him with an explosive sniper, or you can take your oppressor Mark II, hover right in front of the entrance like this, and shoot a few unguided guided rockets into his face, which will put him out of action in no time. Sometimes the Juggernaut will glitch out behind the door, and it's really frustrating because your bullets can't pass through the 1-inch thick piece of plexiglass, but somehow he can land hits on you just fine. And when that happens, just pull out your trusty old grenade launcher, aim at the wall behind the front doors, and bounce some grenades into his face. Then grab your loot bag, call Lester to get the cops off your tail, and fly to the drop-off. You're gonna earn $31,000 for this mission, and that's exactly what every single Terabyte client job pays, 31 grand, with the exception of targeted data, which pays $34,000 once you assassinate your target. Your second client job will have a cooldown of exactly 5 minutes after the first one, and this is universal across all client jobs, meaning you can't just skip to a different job and avoid the cooldown. There's also a secondary cooldown of 30 minutes on the job that you just completed, and I've seen a glitch a couple years ago where people would get outside the Terabyte, change their outfit, close the application on their console, and log back in to skip the cooldown, but I'm not really sure if that one works anymore. Maybe you could try jumping into story mode or something like that. Besides, we aren't too concerned with that 5-minute cooldown overall because there's something else that I like to insert in between every single client job to maximize my income, and I'll tell you about it very soon. Trust me, the cooldowns line up perfectly with what we want to do here. But first, let me walk you through the other 5 client missions. They're all very simple, with the exception of the last 2, so this won't take long. The second client job is called Data Sweep, and in this one, you have to chase 4 vehicles marked in blue on your map. One of these vehicles is carrying sensitive data drives inside, and the only way to find out if a vehicle is the correct one or not is by driving really close to it and activating a hack on your SecuraServe app. If you've done the disorganized crime mission in the Cluck and Bell farm raid, where you follow a couple of vans around the map and hack them, this is the exact same, but the vehicles are more numerous and they're spread out over a much larger area, which makes your job a lot more difficult. Unless you're in an Oppressor Mark II, in which case it's as easy as flying next to the car, checking your SecuraServe app, and then flying to the next car and doing the same thing. Once you have the correct one, just kill the guards and drive it back to the safe house where you'll complete this mission and receive your paycheck. The third client job is diamond shopping, and for this one, you definitely want to start by parking your Terabyte in the middle of Los Santos. Somewhere over here is going to work just fine. Then you should have 2 options. You either do what the game tells you and drive your Terabyte next to the jewelry shop, then take out the security box with your drone, or you can save a ton of time and just fly there with your Mark II and shoot everyone with an assault shotgun, then grab the case full of diamonds and fly away. Easy peasy, we just made $31,000 in under 3 minutes. Then for the fourth client job, targeted data, Paige will once again ask us to drive to the location with our Terabyte and use the drone to infiltrate the Life Invader office. You don't need to do that though. What I like to do is just fly there with my Oppressor Mark II and spice things up a bit by just going in guns blazing myself. That's a lot more fun, it's a lot faster, and you can hack the laptops manually, so even if you don't bring in a drone, it's no big deal because you can still complete the mission no problem. However, you still do need a drone terminal in your Terabyte to start the mission, as well as the diamond robbery mission, so keep that in mind. Just because you can do them without a drone doesn't mean the game will allow you to select those jobs if you don't already own one. It will still check to see if you have the drone upgrade installed first or not. And then for the last 2 client jobs, we have collector's pieces and deal breaker, and I've only got one piece of advice for these: avoid them. They're not worth it from a money-making standpoint, and if you're solo, you literally can't start them anyway because you need at least one other member in your organization to even play these last 2 client jobs. But then after all this, the already abysmal payout is split between everyone in the group, so you get something like $14,000 each if there's 2 of you, and $9,000 if there's 3 people in the party. Collector's pieces is also one of the most frustrating missions in the game, as you have to fly around the map looking for little radar blips on your map that only show up for a couple of seconds before disappearing, and once you find the vehicles, you have to blow them up one by one and bring the loot back, flying all the way across the map once again, and it's just super boring and not worth it. Deal breaker is slightly better in terms of mission design, as you just have to visit a search zone and use the Terabyte scanner to pinpoint a deal that's going down. Then after that, you crash the deal with your buddy and the 2 of you fly away with the loot. This is going to take a tiny bit of coordination between you and your teammate, so you're gonna have to tell them where the scanner is taking you and they'll have to follow you to the spot. And that can be fun for a little while, but it's still not worth it as the payout is just so bad and most of the mission just consists of empty space where you do nothing but drive around slowly in your Terabyte while staring at the scanner. Alright, now that we've covered all 6 client jobs, let me tell you how to get a massive $2 million discount on your Oppressor Mark II. You ready? Okay, here's what you have to do. Just complete 5 client jobs. It doesn't have to be 5 different client jobs. You can literally just spam the same one off cooldown every single time. And the way I recommend you do it if you're a new player and don't have the cash for a drone station is just alternate between Robbery in Progress and Data Sweep. Both of these are unlocked with a base Terabyte purchase, and they're both quite easy to do as well, so you can just alternate between them until your mission counter is up to 5, and then you'll be able to buy the Mark II for just $6 million, which yes, still very expensive, but for how much of a force multiplier the Oppressor Mark II is, I'd say it's well worth it if you can get the discount, because for pure grinding, there is no better vehicle in the game, in my opinion. And here's another little tip for money making with the Terabyte. You see that 5-minute cooldown right there on your client jobs? Well, it's the exact amount of time we need to do a quick hanger crate source on our freshly acquired Oppressor Mark II, which means we can finish a client job, start up a crate source mission for our hangar, summon the Terabyte to our location once we're done, and would you look at that, we now have another client job waiting for us. It's perfect timing. I also recommend purchasing the master control terminal if you're going to grind the hangar, because if you start your crate source from the regular touchscreen computer, it will sometimes give you an air source mission, and you have no way to control which type of source mission you'll get. It's totally random. Air source missions are a complete pain in the butt and a waste of time for the hangar, so get that master control terminal, and from there, you'll be able to select the exact type of source mission you want for your hangar. That's a huge perk of upgrading your Terabyte at the garment factory. Alternatively, if you don't like grinding hangar, you can also just call up Franklin for a quick payphone hit or RAF for a money laundering mission. Both of these can be done in under 5 to 6 minutes, and once you're finished, you can get right back to doing another client job to make some cash. And since you have your master control terminal, you can also use it to resupply and monitor stock levels for every single one of your businesses in the game, your MC businesses, your bunker, your hangar, your CEO cargo, your vehicle warehouse, all of it, except for the acid lab, which does have its own management system through Mutt. Plus, the Terabyte is a service vehicle, so you don't have to go to it. It can come to you, no matter where you are on the map. And now with the mansion fast travel as well, you can spawn inside your mansion and fast travel directly into your Terabyte, where you can swap out DJs at your nightclub, resupply your biker businesses, resupply your bunker, all that good stuff. Just don't start a sell mission from inside of your Terabyte, because your sell vehicles will still spawn in front of the actual business location itself, or in the case of Dodo and Buzzer deliveries with the biker businesses, they'll spawn all the way across the map and you'll still have to fly there while the delivery timer is running down, and it will just be a waste of your time. So resupply from your Terabyte, buy business upgrades, monitor stock levels, do all that, but don't start sell missions. That is still something you'll have to do from within the actual business itself. Anyways, that's all I have for this Terabyte guide. Are the client jobs ideal for money making? Not really. I feel that payphone hits and money laundering missions are better for that type of content. Plus, the payouts you get from a client job is equivalent to the lowest tier of security contract, so you might as well spam security contracts in that case. That way you'll get paid more money, and you'll also guarantee $20,000 of passive income every in-game day at your agency safe, but it's still a neat way to make some cash when you're bored in GTA Online and you want to change of pace. Plus, Rockstar occasionally puts these on double or triple bonus, so you can even make over $90,000 in just 3 to 4 minutes, which adds up to over 900K an hour during those triple money weekly events, which is really nice. So anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, specifically twitch.tv/hazardoushttv for more GTA Online money grinding live streams, and I'll see you guys in the next GTA Online video. Adios, amigos.